The narration over the trailer. I love me some Michael B. I do. I really, really do. But he's no Denzel. The way that he talks, and that's probably because of how it's written. It doesn't come off very intelligent the way Thomas Crown should. And I'm not saying that Michael B. Jordan is stupid. Let me clarify before y'all want to fight me because I said that. There's something about today's English that just doesn't feel as romantic, as intelligent as older English, even at older American English. And so when you look at the original film of Thomas Crown, and even though in 1999, the writing felt intelligent, where Pierce Brosnan or Steve McQueen can handle the narration for this trailer, it kind of fell flat for me. I didn't really feel anything. I don't think Michael B. Jordan is kind of built for that kind of work, but that might change when the movie actually happens. There just better not be any narrations. I don't think he's good for that. Not yet, anyway. And if he does do it, then he needs to take some Shakespeare classes and start speaking old American English, because I think without an accent, speaking today's English, it falls flat, in my opinion. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Founders Cut podcast. For those of you who are watching here on YouTube, welcome back to the channel. Make sure if you are not subscribed already, you are subscribed, you're commenting and engaging on this podcast. Head over to the Substack, because that is where we are going to be posting all of our exclusive content, from docu-shorts, music videos. Yes, we are going to be sharing shorts of that exclusive content on YouTube, but it is official. If you haven't watched it already, like Texas Templar and some of the other stuff we've created and samples of things, it will be moving over permanently to the Substack publication under Athane Exclusives, where you will have to pay $15 a month to access that, and some extra exclusive content where I'll be doing I won't call it a podcast, it's more of a journey, if you will. It's called What's the Story Here, where I will be talking about different businesses that piqued my interest and how I've created, or how I will be creating live in that video footage, creating episode guides and series bibles and first clips of pilots, if you will. So make sure you're subscribed and you're heading over to that Substack publication. Now, for today's episode, I know a lot of people are waiting for my reaction to Green Lantern, and that is coming. It's just not for today. Today, I actually want to talk a little bit about that trailer of that movie, Without Blood, with Salma Hayek. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I think she is, in my personal opinion, a Class A talent who has not been rewarded, if you will, for lack of a better phrase, for said talent in types of scripts that she gets. And maybe her and Sofia Vergara get the same kind of issues. But in this case, with this movie, Without Blood, it looks like perfection from the trailer. And honestly, it does feel original. I know it is based off of a book, but I think the thing that caught my eye was when I saw that it's Salma Hayek and Angelina Jolie. Now, I'm going to share the trailer here. And obviously, you guys know we have to pause and play when we're watching those trailers. So I'll jump right into that in just a moment. But honestly, when I watched the trailer the first time and they said Salma Hayek and Angelina Jolie, at least when you're watching it on YouTube and Entertainment Tonight, the way they have it listed on their YouTube channel, I totally expected to see Angelina Jolie in the movie. And then when it said from Academy Award winner Angelina Jolie, I was like, wait a minute, she's directing? So I'm really excited to share this trailer with all of you and to react to it again, but this time with all of you. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to share this and then offer my opinion on this trailer and what I think is going to happen come March of 2027 when the Academy Awards come rolling around.
People look at us sitting here. They could think you're my brother. Maybe they wonder if we're lovers.
Child baptized in blood. No lie, when I was watching this, it made me think of that Helen Mirren movie. that she did with Ian McKellar. And I can't remember it exactly by name, but it was such an awesome movie. For those of you who are Helen Mirren fans, if you saw it, you know what I'm talking about. Because in that movie, Helen Mirren is like, how do you put this? It's like she's targeted Ian McKellen and he doesn't even know that she's from his past. And it seems like this with Salma Hayek and this character, where in this gentleman, where she clearly remembers him and she's having this conversation because she clearly remembers him from when she was a child. Because I think she's the little girl in the floor.
Do you remember that day?
Many years ago, we were fighting a war. You saw 3 men, you're right. They weren't those 3 were still alive.
Angelina Jolie, no lie. I'm so glad that she's directing.
When that child was alive, I began to respect you.
Revenge is the drug that allows us to fight. What else do you know about us? How can God forgive you?
We believed in a better world.
I mean, I know I gotta pause and play, but honestly, I'm so captivated. I don't even have anything to say to you guys because, oh my gosh, they're not wrong. Captivates from beginning to end. So true.
You've come here to find me. Look at me in the face.
All I ever wished for was for that moment to come. Do you remember?
I remember
Yo, I'm so seeing that movie. I'm so going to see it. Honestly, it looks like perfection. With the years we've been seeing remakes and reboots and nothing original. We've been seeing sequels that no one asked for. Devil Wears Prada 2 and Practical Magic 2 coming out in September as well. And honestly, I think a lot of us are kind of sick of that. They're making a lot more biopic films now, right? How many times, we saw Elvis, we saw Judy. Now they're doing Fred Astaire with Tom Holland. We know that they're doing one about Jimmy Stewart. It's casting that actor who played Archie from the Riverdale series. And so if they can't win or find original stuff, they just do the easy. Taking a Broadway musical and turning it into a actual musical film. Honestly, that was a bad decision. I don't even know whose idea it was to do Kiss of the Spider Woman with J Lo, but that was a bad cast. That was a bad movie. But you see where I'm going with this. We've had so many bad movies recently that we've been craving originality. And yes, this was adapted from a novel, but honestly, it feels like we haven't even seen that in a long time because we've been dealing with, the domination of superhero films and the biopics and the musicals and the remakes and the reboots and sequels no one asked for. That this movie stands out big time, in my opinion. Angelina Jolie's touch on this looks so fantastic. I don't know if she has a pattern per se in her stuff. I've seen movies that she's directed, but I haven't watched so much of them. I'm not a super fan of her as a director. I know she's great at it, but I'm not one of those who really sit there and analyze her work because she has never pissed me off as a director the way Nolan recently did with The Odyssey, where it forced me to look at other works. This movie, she not only directed, she actually wrote the screenplay as well. And honestly, I remember being in the comment section. You know what? Let's pull up the comment section. I do want to share that with you guys because when I was reacting to them, literally while I was watching this. So let's scroll down to the comment section. Someone says, damn, that cinematography looks stunning. It does. It so does. Finally, this film is coming out. Don't know how it took 2 years for it to officially release. Hopefully, Salma and Angie get a Golden Globe nomination for this. You are so right. I think that says Ada Lovelace. Let me see another person. Javier Lewis, I-70, says Angie might get an Oscar or Academy Award for this film. That's the same thing, but yes, we get the drift. I actually want to talk about that specific comment of Angie might get an Oscar for this film. I think she's going to be nominated. I do think. And because Catherine Bigelow has already become the first female to win an Academy Award for direction, that glass ceiling has been shattered. But I don't think that's going to be the issue for Angie this year. Well, for March, right? For Academy Award year 99. I think it's the 99th Oscars. The issue is that she's going to be going up against Christopher Nolan, and I think she is going to go up against Spielberg. Now, I don't think Spielberg is winning for his, Alien movie with Elizabeth with Emily Blunt. I don't think he's winning. I think he'll be nominated. I also think Nolan is definitely getting nominated. I'm not so sure about, those independent films that we saw, those recent horror ones. But Angelina Jolie is definitely getting a nomination. Will she win it? Probably not. And the reason why I say that is that the Academy has a history of rewarding Best Director to people who shouldn't actually get it. Think about the year where Catherine Bigelow did that movie Zero Dark 30. And she directed a fantastic film. This was the movie about how the CIA actually caught Osama bin Laden. Now, you guys know me, I'm not a big fan of big government, but this movie was actually really, really good. Now, the behind the scenes of that movie showed how Barack Obama was pretty much spying on Catherine Bigelow and Mark Boal. He was the writer of the screenplay to figure out how they were getting all this information and how she was able to ascertain that the CIA was trying to pressure the White House because they knew for over 100 days where Osama bin Laden was, and Obama was not allowing them to make a move on him. And that's the gist of that movie for the most part. Catherine Bigelow was not nominated for Best Director. Not at all. Ben Affleck, he did Argo, another movie that made not even Obama's administration, but just the United States government look bad. How the CIA leveraged Hollywood in order to complete some operation in another country. Ben Affleck not only starred in this movie, he directed it. Also not nominated. You know who won for Best Director? The man who shot and directed Life of Pi. He won Best Director. And here's the thing, even he was slightly upset because he didn't go up against the best of that year. We all knew that Catherine Bigelow should have been nominated. We all knew that Ben Affleck should have been nominated. Now, what they chose to do was give Best Picture, however, to Ben Affleck because he also produced the film. And I think that's the route that we're going to see happen at the Academy Awards with Angelina Jolie. I think Nolan is going to win the Academy Award nomination. I think he's going to win it. He's going to win the actual Oscar for Best Director. And I do believe that Angelina Jolie is going to win Best Picture. That's also something else that I've noticed about the Academy Awards. I can't remember the exact year, but think about when you had the movie Moonlight, I believe that's what it was called, and La La Land. Now, there was obviously this huge mishap, and I know people were fired because they mixed up the actual winner cards for Best Picture. This is the year where the director of La La Land won, and not the director of Moonlight. But the Best Picture went to the movie Moonlight. Although there was that mishap where they said it was La La Land, all of them went up there. They actually found out that no, it's not La La Land, it's Moonlight. Forgive me if that's not the name of the movie. I know the word moon is in it, but it wasn't my cup of tea. But why I knew that movie was going to win. There's another one where the movie Spotlight, the movie about, all these pedophile priests in the Catholic Church, and I believe it was the New York Times that broke the story, and the movie was pretty much about the New York Times investigation. I believe that was Rachel McAdams in that movie, But that movie won Best Picture, but it did not win Best Director. They have a habit at the Academy Awards of giving these Oscars to individuals that have these huge notoriety that come with a whole lot more. I don't even know. Grandiose, if you will, for lack of a better phrase, but Best Picture always goes to the one that tugs on the heartstring. And I think that's what's going to happen here with Angelina Jolie. I think she's going to be the one to actually take home the award for Best Picture, because they're damn sure not going to give it to her now with Nolan's Odyssey out there. And let's call a spade. Odyssey should not be, it shouldn't even be nominated. But I know he's going to be nominated for Best Director, I think. The movie's going to be nominated for Best Picture. I think Anne Hathaway's going to get a nomination for Best Actress or Best Supporting Actress, but I think she's going to be, because she's Penelope, so it may be lead. I don't know, but I just know Nolan. I think the Odyssey is going to get a sweeping full of nominations. But I think the only one it may just win is going to be director. I don't see Anne Hathaway winning Best Actress, not with Salma Hayek in this movie Without Blood. I think this is her year, man. This is the year Salma Hayek can take home an Academy Award. This movie looks fantastic. There's another comment in there that said that this movie looks so good that they thought it was shot on film. And I think it's those moments, honestly, where Salma Hayek is sitting down across from the gentleman in that restaurant. How soft the texture of the film is. It doesn't actually look digital. But I would say that when they're like out in the field, or you're seeing this like huge courtyard with the cars and the buildings, that does come off digital. But ultimately, I can understand why that person put it looks like it was shot on film. I get it. I feel like it boiled down to lighting. Her cinematographer was incredible. It doesn't feel the way that most movies today feel. Honestly, I feel like she said, we're not, screw the LED lights, we're not using LED, they fucking suck and they ruin movies and they ruin television. Personally, I do think LED lighting has ruined the texture of television. It's not just about the camera you shoot on, it's also about your lighting. And if the lighting is bad, then so will the output when you record or shoot something. So I think I think this movie's gonna get raving reviews when it comes out, when it premieres. I think we're gonna see a lot of nominations for this movie, and I swear Salma better win an Academy Award, because this movie, it's not a remake, it's not a reboot, as far as I'm concerned. I haven't seen another version of it. It's not a musical, it's not a biopic. They didn't just pluck it off of Broadway and say, hey, we're making a movie. No, they didn't do any of that. Angelina saw a novel that she loved and turned it into a screenplay and directed what looks like a perfect film. I'm so excited to see it. I can't wait. I know it's going to be like this very dramatic, Spanish Western feel. And I'm so excited because, man, it's not the typical Western. It's not your typical Spanish film per se. I'm going to say per se. But the way that it just feels and the way that it looks, just looking at that trailer. My gosh, Angelina, congratulations. Great job. That movie trailer was incredible. I just hope that when we get to the movie, that it's not a letdown. Sometimes the trailers are better. And I just don't want it to be that when we actually get to the movie. But honestly, it is the most original, and I'm glad that it's not a remake. And that actually brings me to the second film I want to react to. I'm going to pull up that trailer. We're going to watch that one together as well. Because I don't know if you guys saw this, but Michael B. Jordan is officially playing Thomas Crown. How I feel about that, to be quite honest with you. Yes, the man looks good. Yeah, he does, but do we need another Thomas Crown affair? And before I offer my 2 cents on that one, we are going to watch the trailer together. I'm going to react to it live with you all so you can see what I'm thinking. Because honestly, it's not, how do I put this? I'm not impressed with it. I'm really not. But you know, it could be different for other people. But let's go ahead and pull up this trailer so you guys can see it too. And then I'm going to react to it with all of you. I mean,
I've been
he looks good, right? I mean, it's Michael B. Jordan.
taking risks my entire life. But last night, it was different. I felt alive. My heart was racing.
Okay, so you see how it said from Academy Award winner Michael B. Jordan? I don't understand why they went from directed by to from, but okay. I am excited that he's directing it. I'm excited for him that he's directing, okay? Because the Thomas Crown Affair is nothing like, I think, any of the other projects that he's done when you look at, well, Creed, for example.
Every step was part of a plan. Things slowed down. It was silent. And I was surprised. Easy it was. But I'm not finished yet. That's what excites me.
Okay, so in that moment, he better be talking to a shrink, and I'll explain why he better be talking to a shrink.
I just had to come over and introduce myself. Thomas Crown.
I know exactly who you are.
You know, jump. Can't catch me. Yeah.
March 5th. Filmed for IMAX. I mean, yeah, I get that. It's cool beans, I guess, for people. You know, I get that. But honestly, as good as he looks, I'm not impressed, okay? I'm not saying that it looks bad. I'm not saying that the movie itself looks bad or that it's gonna be a terrible movie. Honestly, I don't know. What I can say is that this movie does look expensive. It it does look expensive. And that is I don't want to say it's unfortunate, you know, because he has beautiful locations and it looks expensive. And, you know, you get a bunch of rich people doing a bunch of rich shit. That makes sense for this movie. It does, you know. But what's typical? The beautiful investigator, Thomas Crown, is obviously drop dead gorgeous. But this entire trailer, I'm thinking to myself, and this is the first time I watched it and this time watching it. The entire time I'm thinking, you know, did I see this already? And I don't just mean, you know, because it's another remake. I mean, this is like literally the same version with Pierce Brosnan. It's the same one made in 1999, folks. It just is. And that's the problem. Is that it was made in 1999 and the only thing different is that it's not happening in New York. And he's not stealing a painting from the museum. Now, to be clear, I've seen both versions. The first version that came out with Steve McQueen and Faye Dunaway, awesome movie. That one was awesome. And obviously, I've seen the one with Pierce Brosnan and Rene Russo in 1999. That was definitely my favorite. I just love that he wasn't robbing the bank in that one, that he was robbing the museum and stole a painting. They're the same movie, but the DNA, you know, that's the same, right? But like the concept changed because the things that remain. Thomas Crown is still rich. The investigator is still sexy and beautiful and chasing him down. Thomas is pretty much bored out of his mind doing dangerous shit as always. And he's doing this because he's just trying to get a quick endorphin hit doing something dangerous because he's bored out of his mind. You know, and he has the money to do it, not because he's desperate or something. So this is normal, right? But it's different from 1999 with Rene Russo and Pierce Brosnan and Faye Dunaway and Steve McQueen. Steve McQueen robbed a bank. And the bank and law enforcement sent an investigator to find him. And in this case with 1999, they sent an investigator, insurance for the painting, right? This is an insurance investigator to go hunt down the painting. But there's still the flirtation and the seduction. This cat and mouse game is the game of seduction. And that's the Thomas Crown affair. So why is it that the one that Michael B. Jordan wants to create just feels like it's the one in 1999, but just more dangerous and not in the United States? Because that's what it feels like, right? I mean, from the one with Steve McQueen to Pierce Brosnan, there was a whole shift. There was a different take. One was cash from the bank. This one's a painting. This one is still a painting. It's just not from a museum. So what changed? And that's what I think is the problem with this trailer. I'm trying to put this into words because it's not so much about the painting. It's not so much that money is the point. Right? It's none of those things, right? The point of this movie is the risk that Thomas is making. And so if that's the point of this movie, the risk he's taking in the theft itself and this cat and mouse game with the investigator, then the risk he takes that initiates that cat and mouse has to change in order for the movies to be different. That's what Steve McQueen and Thomas Crown and Pierce Brosnan's Thomas Crown understood, is that we have to make the thing he does different because everything else is going to pretty much be the same. You know, he's going to be rich, he's going to be intelligent, he's practically the guy that all women want. But he's a guy who takes risk. And you look at, you know, Rene Russo's character, Catherine, and how she got seduced by the very man she was sent there to get the painting back from. And so if that's the thing, like you have to make this version different. And it doesn't. It's not. He's charming, he's wealthy, he's confident. You got Adria, can't pronounce her last name. I think I'm pronouncing her first name wrong. Forgive me, say it in the comment sections. Playing a beautiful investigator who's apparently going to be chasing him. Hello. Kind of knew that, saw that coming. And that moment in the trailer where he's driving the car and it flips, that's the equivalent to when Pierce Brosnan's Thomas Crown affair was racing his boat and he literally crashed the boat in the water just because he liked the splash. It looks exactly the same with Michael B. Jordan's race car when he's racing his cars. He's going to do this outrageous trick on the track just because he thinks he can, out of fun. It doesn't bother him. This is exactly the same. But it's another painting. That's my biggest problem with it, because that's where the movie starts to lose me. It's the reinvention from the original film to the one in 1999. So what separates Michael B. Jordan's Thomas Crown from Pierce Brosnan's? Absolutely nothing. This is what separated Pierce Brosnan from Steve McQueen. This is what allowed us to not have to compare Pierce Brosnan to Steve McQueen, because the risk taken was different. Steve McQueen robbed a bank. Thomas Crown, Pierce Brosnan's Thomas Crown, steals a painting from a museum. That's what it is. But then it starts to look like in Michael B. Jordan's, from the, you know, rich, wealthy guy whose painting is no longer on that mantle. It looks like he's going up against a owner, or he's trying to steal from the owner of the painter as opposed to the museum. So it's like we're still stealing a painting, but we're stealing it from an exclusive collection of a collector. He's stealing from this rich guy. And so is that what he's thinking is going to make this movie different, because I'm stealing from an individual? But I'm like, wait a minute, this feels like the movie Entrapment with Sean Connery and Catherine Zeta-Jones. Like, where they go in to try and steal something from an individual. So this movie's got a lot of things going with it. I'm not so sure how I'm going to feel about it, honestly. But we really did not need another Thomas Crown affair, and we damn sure didn't need another Thomas Crown affair whose task was to steal another painting. if he wasn't going to change the temptation, the risk that Thomas Crown is taking, then we definitely didn't need it. You don't have to give me bigger stunts and, huge, bigger environments, more exotic environments, I should say, rather. You just, it's not necessary because nothing changed except the country and the target. But the product, the risk, the temptation for Thomas, all the same. There's nothing different. I will say, though, that moment we saw in the trailer where he was sitting down talking across from someone, we just don't know who. I'm hoping that's Rene Russo. And the reason why I say that is because in 1999's movie, Thomas Crown, Pierce Brosnan, he was seeing a shrink. And that shrink was being played by Faye Dunaway. And the thing about that is that Faye Dunaway was in the original Thomas Crown with Steve McQueen. She was the investigator trying to understand the psyche of Thomas Crown. And then you see her in 1999, where yet again, Faye Dunaway is trying to understand the psyche of Thomas Crown. So if Rene Russo was in this movie, I think that might save it for me, honestly. If I see her and they continue that trend, if you will, of casting the investigator from the previous film in the new one, that might save it for me, in my opinion. But I want to know what you guys think. We covered 2 movies today. An original film with it directed by Angelina Jolie, starring Salma Hayek, which I hope win Academy Awards for Best Director, Best Picture, and Best Actress. I really, really hope Salma Hayek wins. And if Angelina doesn't get Director, she better get Best Picture. And yet another remake that I can't say is bad or good. We really won't be able to tell until the actual movie comes out, and I will see it when it does. And I'll offer my opinion and give a review about that film. But from the trailer, it all looks exactly the same, just in more exotic environments. Michael B. Jordan looks great. Let me say one thing before I close out about Michael B. Jordan. The narration over the trailer. I love me some Michael B. I do. I really, really do. But, he's no Denzel. The way that he talks. And that's probably because of how it's written. It doesn't come off very intelligent the way Thomas Crown should. And I'm not saying that Michael B. Jordan is stupid. Let me clarify before y'all want to fight me because I said that. There's something about today's English that just doesn't feel as romantic, as intelligent, as older English, even older American English. And so when you look at the original film of Thomas Crown, and even though in 1999, the writing felt intelligent, where Pierce Brosnan or Steve McQueen can handle the narration for this trailer, it kind of fell flat for me. I didn't really feel anything. I don't think Michael B. Jordan is kind of built for that kind of work. But that might change when the movie actually happens. There just better not be any narrations. I don't think he's good for that. Not yet, anyway. And if he does do it, then he needs to take some Shakespeare classes and start speaking old American English. Because I think without an accent, speaking today's English, it falls flat, in my opinion. But I want to know what you guys think about both movies that we covered today. And I want to give you guys an announcement. Like I told you at the top of the show, all of the animations that are listed right now on Afane Studios YouTube channel are moving permanently to the Afane Exclusives tab of Afane Studios Substack publication. So if you're interested, click that link, head over, subscribe for $15. We're also releasing a new service. I know a lot of people are watching a bunch of YouTube videos and trying to figure out how to create their own series. And then you have people who are creating these so-called school communities where you can create with them, along with them. But then they slow drip information where you're so dependent on them so they can make monthly recurring revenue. In this case, we are selling an actual pre-production kit for any of you who are interested in creating your own series. We create everything from a series Bible to character sheets and environment sheets. These are the things you need to effectively create a series. And as opposed to getting caught up in, I don't know how many YouTube videos or paying for so many school communities, you can just get what you need. Click the link below, head over, make your purchase, get yourself a kit. It will only take 48 hours for me to deliver that service to you directly in your email. So head over, click that link, make your purchase. But that is my time, ladies and gentlemen. God bless you all, and until next time.